Joshua, conquering the promised land. Moses, the servant of the Lord, is dead, and the people stood on the edge of a promise, with the Jordan River line-wide before them and the wilderness behind. To Joshua alone in the weight of that moment, the Lord spoke, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." The river had not yet parted, Jericho had not yet fallen, but a few leaders had heard heaven, and Israel would follow. Before the river could be crossed, the people were told to consecrate themselves. For days they had heard Moses' voice. Now they prepared in silence as if the land itself were listening. Joshua commanded the priests who brought the Ark of the Covenant, "When you reach the edge of the Jordan, stand in the river." The Jordan was at flood stage, yet when the priests' feet touched the water, the river stopped. The waters rising from upstream stood up in a heap, and the way below ran dry. So Israel crossed not through the waves, but on solid ground, while the priest stood firm in the midst of the Jordan, holding the presence of God between them and the promise. Beyond the river, a city stood against them, Jericho. Shut up and shut in, its walls rising like a dare against God's promise. The battle plan made no sense to human eyes. Once a day for 6 days, the men of war would march around the city in silence. 7 priests would carry trumpets of ram's horns before the ark. Not a sword lifted, not a siege engine moved. On the 7th day, they rose at dawn. 7 times they circled Jericho. 7 times the trumpets sounded. And when the long blast rang out at the word you speak in faith, the people shouted, and the wall fell flat. The impossible gate opened. The promised land had begun to yield. When the ram's horn held its long note, Joshua said, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." And the people shouted with a great shout. The wall did not crack or lean, it fell flat. The stone and rampart that Jericho had trusted collapsed straight to the ground, and a way opened where there had been none. They did not win because Israel was stronger. They won because they did what God commanded. March when he said march. Wait when he said wait. Shout when he said shout. Victory came not by human might, but by obedience and trust. And the first fortress of the promise lay in ruins at their feet. Jericho had fallen. Ai was taken. Battle by battle, the land was opening. But Joshua knew conquest was never only about cities. It was about the covenant. As Moses had commanded long before, all Israel came to the valley between Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. There Joshua built an altar on Ebal, stones touched by iron, and offered sacrifice to the Lord. The Levitical priests stood with the Ark of the Covenant. Half the nation faced Gerizim, half faced Ebal, elders, officers, judges, women, children, and foreigners living among them. And Joshua read aloud all the words of the law, the blessings and the curses, every command Moses had given. Not one word was left unread. In the heart of the promised land, Israel not only took ground, they renewed their promise to walk in obedience before God. The Lord gave Israel all the land he had sworn to their fathers. They took possession of it and settled there, and the Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he had promised. Not one of all his good promises had failed. Everyone was fulfilled. A long time afterward, when Joshua was old and well advanced in years, he summoned all Israel, elders, heads, judges, and officers, and reminded them, it was the Lord who had fought for them, not their own strength. "Choose this day whom you will serve," he said, "but as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And the people answered, "The Lord our God we will serve, and his voice we will obey." Joshua finished strong. A new chapter of life in the land had begun. Yet the story warns us, even after a great victory, compromise waits for those who forget, who mingle with what God forbids, and let the heart drift while the camp still looks at peace.